Good morning. This is the budget workshop, Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida, July 12th, 2022. It's 9:03 a.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. Please turn your cell phone to the vibrate, silence, or off setting. Proof of publication. Was the meeting properly advertised?
Mr. Chairman, this meeting was advertised in the Escambia Sun Press on July 7th, 2022, in the board's weekly meeting schedule.
The Escambia Sun Press.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. That's fantastic. Okay, excellent. Overview of the budget. Stephen Hall. Stephen Hall will be recognized when he takes his seat. And then just for everyone's knowledge and awareness, this is a board work session. Later, 60 days from now, we will approve a final budget, at which point we will hold a hearing and input will be solicited from the public. But this is a board workshop, so this is for board and staff to kind of work through the nuts and bolts of the budget. Each of us up here have been provided copies of the budget. Many of us have been intimately involved as it's been put together. We've had individual meetings with staff, so if it looks as though we're moving quickly, it's because we've been kind of studying this and working on this for months and months. So just always like to make that known so that folks don't think we're rubber stamping. Again, this is our workshop, and 60 days from now, thereabouts, we will have a public hearing, at which point the citizens will be allowed to speak and really encouraged to do so. So with that, Stephen Hall, you are recognized. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy to be here. Good to see everybody today. With that, I will give the board an introduction to the budget. Again, good morning, Commissioners. I'll begin with a presentation of important points, events, personnel changes, and trends that have shaped the development of the proposed fiscal year 2022-2023 balanced budget, totaling $622,979,451. There is no change in our millage rates. The countywide millage rate is 6.6165. The library MSTU is 0.359. The sheriff's MSTU is 0.685. The budget anticipates no other significant changes in tax levies. There is no change in the fire assessment rates included in the proposed fiscal year 2022-23 budget. The current rates are as follows: residential at $125.33 per dwelling unit, commercial at 0.0526 per square foot, with a minimum assessment of $125.33. Unimproved at $15.03 per parcel plus 3 cents per acre. Vacant agricultural land is no longer assessable per section 125.01 Florida statutes. Commissioners, the June 1st taxable value certification for ad valorem is 13.93% above the July 1st certification of the previous year. The law enforcement MSTU is 15.32% above the July 1st certification of the previous year, resulting in about $20.8 million more funding overall. The county may appropriate 95% of these revenue sources for a combined total of an additional $19.8 million. The changes between the June 1st and July 1st taxable values are not included in the proposed fiscal year 2022-23 balanced budget of $622,979,451. The July 1st taxable value certification resulted in an additional funding in the amount of $3.9 million for ad valorem and the law enforcement MST. The county may appropriate 95% of those revenue sources for a combined total of $3.7 million that is not included in the fiscal year 22-23 budget. For fiscal year 22-23, there is a budgeted reserve for contingency of $20 million, reserves for operating of $1 million, and a sheriff's reserve allocation of $1,250,000, and a general fund reserve of $250,000 for targeted county maintenance as requested at the 6/2/2022 board meeting. The total budgeted general fund reserves are $22.5 million. There's a 4% pay increase for BCC employees included in the 2022-23 budget for board departments, totaling $4.5 million across all funds. The budgeted life and health employer contribution changed from $12,000 per FTE to $11,250 per FTE. included in the budget. A handout has been provided to the board that details all the personnel transactions between fiscal year 2022 and 2023, referencing position deletions and additions and various other changes in positions and personnel. The primary funds that were analyzed for position cuts were the general fund and the transportation trust fund. There are 86 deleted positions totaling $2.6 million across all funds. The general fund deletions total $979,000, and the transportation trust fund total is $993,000. There are also 52 partially defunded positions in the general fund totaling $2.8 million. These positions are in corrections and are not included in our personnel counts. Total position deletions and defunding, total positions are 138 positions. There are a total of 101 position transactions that include position reclasses, reallocations, relief positions to full-time positions, and some added positions for the board. Those total $6.3 million across all funds, with $1.6 million in the general fund and $773,000 in the transportation trust fund. The total net change in personnel costs is an additional $852,000, with overall net increase of 15 positions. Also to note that the defunded positions totaled 52, subtracting from the 15 would leave 37 defunded additional positions. Commissioners, community partners and state mandates that are included as part of our community partner funding. There's a request for $145,700 for the Gulf Coast Kids House for abused children, $39,188 for the general fund portion of legal aid court services. These funding requests are non-discretionary. There is a total of $1,178,195 is available in the general fund for community partner funding requests for fiscal year 22-23. In the board's latest community partner listing, there are 4 funded agency partners and 1 community partner funding request totaling $54,000 that may qualify for funding under the Children's Trust Agency. Commissioner, also just want to note, I did just put out an updated handout reflecting those for the board. State mandates. There is $3.75 million included in the budget for the Department of Juvenile Justice mandate, $4.7 million for the Medicaid mandate, $165,000 for indigent cremation, and $1 million for the state mandated Baker Act services. Total mandated funding is $9.8 million. DOMS and medical examiner. There is $2,664,160 included in the fiscal year 2022-23 budget for the medical examiner. However, there was a later revision to the medical examiner budget, increasing that funding request to $2,897,000, or an increase of $226,000 that will need to be funded by the board. There is also $6.4 million included for payments to the city for tax increment financing districts, which is an increase of $866,574 over the prior year's estimate. County CRA TIFs are maintained at the 75% increment level of funding for fiscal year 22-23, resulting in an estimated $5.4 million for the county CRAs and TIFs, which is an increase of $1.1 million over the prior year's estimate. The Community Redevelopment Agency and the City of Pensacola TIF valuations net change between June and July certification of values is estimated at an additional $15,444 for the city TIFs and an additional $51,000 for the county TIFs that will need to be funded by the board. There were approximately $42.8 million in operational and capital enhancement requests that were made by board departments that are not included in this budget. The board was provided a detail of those budget requests and reductions. There are allocations of $100,000 for the BCC internship program, $20,000 per commissioner, $250,000 for the BCC discretionary allocations at $50,000 per commissioner, $200,250 for the block-by-block project, and $291,000 for the low-income utility assistance program and United Way in the general fund. Also included is an allocation of $251,000 for the summer work programs in LOST 4. There are 12 months of planned LOST 4 project expenditures totaling $52.4 million in fiscal year 2022-23 proposed budget. We expect to continue to refine the LOST 4 project listing with the board, and any changes made by the board will be made to the LOST 4 projects plan. The first year of a 3-year funding agreement with the Escambia County Sheriff is included in the fiscal year 2022-23 budget, reflecting a total increase in the sheriff's budget of $5.9 million over the prior year. The sheriff's fiscal year 2022-23 total general fund request is $77,425,917. The prior year was $71,525,917. Also included in the funding agreement is a BCC budgeted sheriff's reserve totaling $1.25 million. This 3-year funding agreement in the form of an interlocal agreement will be presented on the board's agenda at the July 19th board meeting for the board's consideration.
And Stefan, if I could just interject.
Yes, sir.
I spoke to the sheriff again yesterday, and that I'm frankly very thankful and proud of the efforts that you've made, and Wes, as well as the sheriff. And I think that's a pretty profound thing that I know we're going through it quickly today just as part of the workshop, but I want to personally express my gratitude for you and all those meetings that we've had to get that over the line. I think it's very important that we're able to do that. It saves us money up front. It kind of sets our liability in the future. It's a department that costs a lot of money, a lot more year over year due to their workers' comp and some of the other things. So that's a pretty profound thing. So I look forward to voting on that next week when we have our meeting. And I appreciate your diligent efforts on that. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Let's see. Initially, the sheriff's initial fiscal year 22-23 funding request from the sheriff did reflect an increase of approximately $7.9 million over the prior year. Other constitutional officer budgets increased approximately $1.9 million over the prior fiscal year. The total increase for all constitutional officer budgets is $7.85 million. The tax collector's preliminary budget is annually submitted around July 3rd. The difference between the anticipated fiscal year 22-23 budget of $5.894 million and the submitted tax collector's budget of $5,589,140 is a savings of $304,860. Commissioners, this concludes my introduction to the fiscal year 2022-23 budget discussion.
Thank you, Stefan. Any discussion from the board? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move forward with our agenda items. Next up will be our constitutional officers, and today we're looking at between 11:30 and 12, going through about that time, and then tomorrow morning we'll start with our community partners, first thing, time certain in the morning. So without further ado, we'll move forward with our constitutional officers, starting with property appraiser, the Honorable Chris Jones. You're recognized. Thank you for being here.
Is that hot? Yep. Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Property Appraiser's Office, to echo yours, it's great to have Stefan back, working with him. It's been a pleasure. We submitted our budget in June 1 to the Department of Revenue and has copied Stefan as well on that. The property appraiser's budget this year is an increase of about $448,000 and some change. It represents about a 6.5% increase. I can go through it, or if you have any questions per details, I'll be happy to answer anything.
Chris.
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate you providing that information ahead of schedule, ahead of time. We've all seen it, but if we do have questions, it looks like Commissioner Berry, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to say I don't. So however you want to, kind of move forward with the constitutionals, I'm good with it. certainly appreciate Chris's partnership and stewardship of our funds over the years, and so I don't have any concerns.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Chris, for being here.
Thank you.
That was painless. Next up, Tax Collector, the Honorable Scott Lunsford. Is Scott here? I didn't see him.
Jeff, he said, I talked to him last night, he had a call at 8 o'clock for
Okay.
but he, if we could just hold him until he gets here,
That's fine.
we'd
Okay,
appreciate that.
We'll double back to him. We'll start, next we'll go to the Supervisor of Elections. The Honorable David Stafford is here. Good morning, David. You're recognized.
Good morning, everybody. I would also echo, it's great to have Stefan back to work with. Our budget this year is, I guess, a couple of parameters. Number one, it's a general election year budget, which always increase. As you know, we're cyclical, so we're either budgeting, with the exception of once every 4 years, we have to budget for 2 elections. We're usually a little bit lower in a primary year, and then we have to jump it up for a general election year for obvious reasons, just more stuff to do, more ballots, more people. In addition, some of the highlights would be we have added personnel-wise. We've done a couple of things. Number one, we've added 1 FTE, just as we believe we need it. And just to kind of give you some perspective, when I came into office in 2004, we were at 22 FTEs. With this addition, we would be up to 15 FTEs. We have, in addition, we've had to add some, the other sort of big ticket item for us in the personnel side is our poll workers, our election workers, the people that actually run the elections on election day, have not had a raise in their funds since 2012. And believe me, I hear about it every year.
I bet you do.
And so now is the time. And so we've budgeted that increase in. That's obviously the thing with us, just like with the sheriff's office, is everything is scaled. So we usually employ somewhere between 600 and 700 election day employees. So also having to deal, we in election season, we hire temporary employees, just that's the nature of our business. And anybody who's had to deal with trying to find temporary employees these days understand what the situation there is. And so we've had to budget for some increases there, just to be able to get the personnel that we absolutely need in order to do our job. I guess the last thing, barring any other questions, would be there's a capital outlay to get some IT infrastructure that we need. We're working with the folks over in the budget office to figure out how best to fund that. It's in the baseline budget now. There's some talk that we potentially could see a different funding source for that. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
David, I understand your budget's up about 20%, but I appreciate the explanation. And I know next year in an off cycle, the anticipation is that your budget will probably go down. Is that your anticipation?
We would certainly hope so, expect and hope so, barring any. Oh, and the other, I guess one other thing, I'm sorry, we had, as you all deal with policy implications, one of the policy decisions that was made at the legislative, by the Florida legislature, resulted in us having to add an additional position during our 13 days of early voting, 12 days of early voting, which again, scale it up. It's not an insignificant budget item.
Yes, sir. Any other questions for Mr. Stafford? Nope. Okay. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up, Clerk of the Court, the Honorable Pam Childers, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. As I discussed last year in my budget, that I was going to take my time and assess what our departments needed. We did that. We hired slowly. I will be returning that money from this year's budget. So my current year budget that we have talking about today, I'm increasing by 2 positions. So it'll be the 4% increase. The rest of it is required under the benefits, and part of that is also a 3% across the board, not a 4%. I do not do across the board raises, but I will use all of it for merit and promotion increases. That's all I have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any questions for the clerk? All right, seeing none. Did Scott Lunsford make it in? I don't see him. Okay, we can double back to him, but we'll move forward to what I believe could be an extensive topic. Without objection, we'll move forward to item 5, which is the medical examiner. I see Dan Shebler's here. Thank you for being here today. I'm sure Dr. Oleski's got her hands full. Appreciate you being here, and you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Dr. Oleski sends her regrets. She had a conflicting appointment and couldn't be here this morning. The budget before you today is just the operational budget, so I want to make sure we're focused just on that. And the first thing that Dr. Naleska I want to do is say thank you for your support of the Medical Examiner's Office for the last several years. Since Dr. Minyard left, we went through a period of searching. The support has been outstanding. We have space now, thanks to the board's county commissioners' funding, budget amendments and requests over the last couple of years. We have that space furnished. We have a staff now that is adequately and appropriately sized for the district that we serve. And we have the equipment. This county funded a Lodox X-ray machine, pretty fantastic machine that makes us much more efficient. It takes three-dimensional X-rays head to toe in less than 3 minutes. Wow. So it improves the efficiency and speed within the autopsy suite. And that was funded by CARES Act from Escambia County. So we greatly appreciate the support. The budget request, Stefan mentioned, the total amount has not changed. We submitted a budget request May 31st as required. Since then, there's been multiple discussions across the district with the boards of county commissioners. The apportionment strategy, which was an attempt to fund both operational and capital in one apportionment, was rejected across the board. So we've gone back to a model that we've used in previous years, and that is caseload of the prior year. So that's the change, and I understand that there have been some discussions offline between Escambia and Santa Rosa to account for about 2% of those cases that come across the river from Santa Rosa County residents, and they've taken that into their funding source. So the request is $2,890,897, as Stefan pointed out. That is an increase of $115,586 from the FY 21-22 budget, necessary to fund the increase in caseload. We budgeted in this fiscal year for 1,383 cases, and halfway through the fiscal year, we had seen 706. So our forecasting has been rather accurate, and this budget includes that forecasted increase as well. We're budgeting for 1,650 cases in this coming fiscal year. What is driving those cases? I know that was a question that came up here in the past. It's drugs and overdoses. You've seen slides before. I have additional slides that I can leave with you for review. But fentanyl overdoses have increased 450% in the last year.
Whoa, say that again?
450%.
Just in the four-county area?
Just in our four-county area. Wow. Yes, sir. That and traffic. Both pedestrian and vehicle accidents have increased over 40% year over year from 2020 to 2021. Those two factors are driving significantly the caseload that comes to the medical examiner's office. Cremation permits are also up. That's becoming the primary option, I think, for a lot of people for final disposition of loved ones. And all of those permits have to be approved by the medical examiner's office by state statute. We provide the service. We send the information to the counties, and the counties then bill for a cremation permit fee, which produces about $280,000 of revenue across the district for the counties. The small increase in our budget is because we were able to make some changes this year. Even though we're fully funded now, we were able to change our PEO, our professional employment organization. We changed healthcare plans. We were able to drive down workers' compensation costs and healthcare costs, and we're able to reallocate that money in this year's budget so not to have to increase or request increases. There are no additional county-funded positions in this budget. We are seeking 2 positions via Impact 100 grants, both from Impact 100 of Escambia and Santa Rosa and Impact 100 of Northwest Florida. The fringe benefits for those employees that cannot be funded by that grant, that is included in this budget. We are having a visit from Impact 100 later this month, and the decisions, as you know, are later in the fall. So we'll see how that turns out.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
Dan, with regards to those positions, I mean, how long is the funding?
That funding will be for about 1.5 years of salary, and
Yeah.
we would expect in the next year's budget to include those positions as a request to the counties.
Okay. So you have that financial, we know those numbers, what we're going to be expected to pick up the tab for in the future?
Commissioner, I don't have those numbers.
All right, Dan, can you give
I'll-
us that
I'll
information?
provide
I mean, if you're including the fringe benefits in this budget, so And if you're successful with
we-
impact, then that ends up being a liability that we've got going forward.
I'll provide that, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep. All right.
So the increase is for, an additional doctor, the locums doctors that come to fill in. We have a capital request that is included in this budget. That is matching funds for a federal grant that was applied for a rapid DNA machine. One of the challenges we face, as you've seen pictures, is the space in the morgue cooler. When we have long-term unidentified decedents, that takes up space and complicates the operation. So if we could obtain that machine, half funded by a grant from the federal government, from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, half funded by the counties, as requested in this budget, that would greatly reduce that impact over the year. So with that, I would take any questions the board would have regarding the operational budget for FY '22-23.
Thank you, Dan, for being here. Gentlemen on the board, any questions for Mr. Shebler? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Gentlemen, I'm going to double back. I didn't see the sheriff, but I did just notice that Henrique Diaz is here. So, Henrique, would you like to come before the, appreciate you being here, and my apologies for not seeing you there in the back. I was looking for the sheriff. Henrique is the CFO for the sheriff's office, and we appreciate all his help with Stefan in negotiating the 3-year deal. So you're recognized. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As Stefan already went through the numbers, we requested the 3-year MOU agreement, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you for being here, Henrique. Any questions? Commissioner Bender, you're recognized.
Yeah. Jeff, I appreciate you putting this together. I mean, of course, we got it Friday, so
Sure.
we weren't involved in anything. But in talking with the sheriff, I think we're familiar with some of the obstacles that they're having to face that they found out about after they had already entered negotiations. And he told me is we entered this. I'm not going to go back on my word, but I think we could. I wanted to see if the board was interested in increasing the year 1 reserves.
I believe that we've done that, Stefan, or the other thing that we've done is we've made it cumulative for the first 2 years, and I believe that solves the issue. But if it doesn't, of course, I'd be amenable. And that, for the benefit of the folks in the audience, that's just money that we would set aside in a categorical in the event that something unforeseen happened that we could add to it. And that's, of course, memorialized in the interlocal agreement. But of course, Robert, yeah, I'd be happy to do it. And
All right, so my request was just to increase that to $2 million for the first year.
in the reserve fund.
In the reserve fund.
Stefan, is there any issues with that? Or, I mean, is that something that,
So Commissioners, anytime we change the budget, potentially that there are other sources of funds that are coming. So we've identified the 3.7. So that would be a $750,000 increase to that reserve. So we could take it out of the funds from the June 1st to July 1st if that is what the board would like to do.
well, I think that would be a goodwill gesture, particularly if there were some unforeseen things that have come up after the sheriff and I hammered out this deal. And if Commissioner Bender thinks that that's appropriate. And again, this is money that's not necessarily going to be spent. We're going to hold it in reserve in case something comes up. But Commissioner Bender, so if we did 2 the first year, could we level it up to what the second year would have been? The second year was going to be 1.5, was that correct? Of our original deal.
Commissioner, it was 1.25, 1.25, and then 1.5.
Okay, so-
But then we made it cumulative, as you discussed. So technically, if no funds were spent in the fiscal year '23 budget to additionally support the sheriff's budget, it would automatically roll up to 2.5.
Okay, so perhaps what we do there, Stefan, is go 2 million the first year, and then the rest of it just as it was, 1.25 the second, cumulative the first 2 years, leveling out in the third year. If that solves the issue, I think that's more than generous and fair on our part. And I think that would give you a level of, comfort, for lack of a better word, in case of anything, because we know the costs are going up. And I will, for the benefit of you guys on the board, because we've done a multi-year deal and been able to put that together, we were able to shave $2 million off the first year request. We put a lot of effort into this. It's a good deal for us, it's a good deal for the sheriff, and most importantly for the citizens, no increase to the MSTU and no increase to the ad valorem tax rate. We've been able to work it, hard work with Stefan, Henrique, the sheriff, myself, others, So if we're able to put this together, Robert, I have no issue with that. Commissioner Barry? You're
Mr.
right.
Chairman, let's, I mean, you know, the funds that would be filling this bucket are, you know, the funds would be coming from somewhere that's just being held in reserve also. So why don't we just stick with what's already been negotiated? If something unforeseen comes up, I think there's, you know, clearly a tremendous amount of exhibited good faith between the board and the sheriff's office that if there's something comes up that, that they need, the board will be willing to help at that time. The funds aren't coming from an operational position, they're coming from a reserve position already. So if something comes up that's additional, let's deal with it then. I mean, you know, you spent time, negotiated, y'all have a deal, let's keep the deal as it is. If something comes up, if we have a hurricane, if we have, you know, God forbid something else, then address that at that time. The funds aren't, it's not as if they don't get put in this bucket, they'll be spent. They're simply set aside on our side. Let's leave them set aside on our side, and if something comes up, then we move them over there.
Okay, well, look, I'm willing to do it either way. I know that there's a significant amount of goodwill between the current Board of County Commissioners and the current sheriff. I can't always say that that was the case in the past. And in my discussions with the sheriff, you know, whether it was the leave buyback that when we extended it to our employees, we extended it to your employees, and that cost was significantly more than what we had budgeted. We came through. So Stephen, I can go that direction, or I can go Robert's direction. You know,
I mean, do you want to explain what popped up after the budget, or?
I think the main issue is going to be year 2 and 3. Year 1, which is next year, which should be in good shape. But year 2 and 3, it's the unknown.
So there's been a large increase to the health insurance.
Yes, we had a 40% increase in our health insurance.
I thought that we negotiated the insurance down, Steph, not up.
This is with their carrier.
Commissioner, they have a separate insurance policy than the BCC.
And this came to light after he had already
After the
negotiated.
agreement was
Yes.
drafted.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I mean, obviously, you know, I have a great relationship with the sheriff, and, you know, if there's a problem with that insurance in year 2 or 3, you know, I'm certainly going to be supportive. I think that the sheriff understands the importance of keeping millage rates down and being, you know, fiscally responsible, and so if there's a need in year 2 or 3, you'll have my support.
so as it pertains to the agreement, Commissioner Mayor, are you with Commissioner Barry, and that we should keep it as it's been negotiated?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's saying it's more than 2 and 3, then, you know, the sheriff thought he was a little short for next year, but,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sit here and
but it sounds like
anticipate
we
2
have a
and 3
goodwill
right now.
gesture. I mean, it sounds like we're going to maybe
Well-
help him if it's
Well,
needed.
yeah, and here's the thing, Robert, I think what you're hearing from Commissioner Barry and from Commissioner May and myself is, if there's something unexpected, we're going to be there. We're not just going to say, talk to the hand and, you know, beat you over the head with the interlocal. Just as we demonstrated with the leave buyback that was significantly more than what we budgeted, we're coming
And
through.
Jeff, I'll
So-
take that. That's
Okay.
good for me.
So we'll just leave it as it stands.
Okay.
And I'll speak with the sheriff again as well. I just think it's a lot of work, and I'm hearing 3 votes for a 3-year deal, which is, I think is something to celebrate. Of course, we're going to finalize it, you know.
Well, every time we got a deal with the sheriff, you've negotiated it, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
I mean, congratulations.
thank you. Well, I mean, there was Stephen Hall, it was Enrique Diaz, it was the sheriff himself, lots of breakfasts and coffees, and I just think it's good. It's a good thing to do, so appreciate the support, gentlemen.
And-
Doug, did you have a comment?
No, I think that landed right where it needed to.
Okay, all right, good enough. All right, anything else for Mr.
Yeah,
Diaz?
Mr. Chairman, if you
Yes.
don't mind. You know, and you mentioned the, you know, previous relationship, which is, you know, which was not ideal on any circumstance. But I do want to recognize Enrique, even, you know, for the, through some of those times and for the whole, you know, 10 years that Lumen and I have been on the board, no matter what, you know, the relationship was with the elected official in that constitutional office, Enrique was always helpful and was always, you know, personally helpful to me. So since you're here, I want to recognize that. Thanks, Enrique.
Absolutely, Commissioner Berry. And Enrique, you've always been there, although some other people would, you know, make
Thank you.
nice billboards on Cervantes as we get editorials, but, you know, that's fine.
Right on. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Look forward to closing that deal next week. Okay, okay, we're going to move forward now to the board departments, unless Scott Lunsford's made it in. I don't see him. Nope. Okay, so we're going to move forward, gentlemen, with the board departmental review, starting with the Board of County Commissioners, the Commissioner aides, and we'll just go right down the list. Stefan, do you want to set the table on each of them, and then we'll open it up for comments? Like what the overall proposed budget is?
So, Commissioner, so what I'll say is generally what you're going to see, across all of your board departments, expenditures are relatively flat. The changes are primarily going to be in personnel due to some of the raises and things that the board gave earlier this year. And as I mentioned in my introduction, so you'll see for the BCC, you'll see that the internship dollars are there, the discretionary dollars are there. Other than that, the board's budget is relatively flat as well.
Okay, while we're on the Board of County Commissioners, fourth floor, us, I want to talk about, obviously, I'm very supportive of the interns. I think it's been a great program. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize my intern, Caleb White, who's done a great job helping Debbie in my office. Just a great leadership development tool and frankly, a help to the citizens, having people. So, but the one thing that I think it might be appropriate to talk about at this particular time is our aides. I send my aide all over the county, all over the place, in her personally owned private vehicle. Gas, over $4 a gallon. I just think I'd like to see if the board would have any appetite for a stipend for the aides who don't have county cars. I don't think they should have to pay to come to work and do the work that I direct them to do. District 1's a very big district, even bigger now since the redistricting. So I just want to throw that out there and see if there might be some appetite among my counterparts to offer our aides a stipend for gas and for the ones who use their privately owned vehicles. I think it's fair. I think most companies do it. And if I'm being very, very honest about it, there are executives, administrators within this organization who get a significant amount and they drive the car here and they park it in the lot and then they drive it home. Again, my aide goes all the way to Beulah. She goes out to coffee. She goes everywhere. I send her everywhere. I need something taken. I need photos. I send her out. So I want to throw that out and see if there's any support, because if there is, now's the time to ask Stefan to insert that into the budget. Commissioner Berry?
Mr. Chairman, since it's not something that we had discussed before, why don't, as you mentioned before, we do have 60 days before we come back for the first, for even the first public budget hearing.
Okay.
Why don't you do you mind giving us a little bit of time, maybe talk with, and give us a chance to talk to the administrator and the attorney a little bit about it, and
Sure.
and look at maybe making a decision on that when we get a little bit closer to September?
I'm happy to do that,
Okay.
Stephen. Like I say,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if there's any appetite for it, because if there isn't, I won't pursue it. I just think it's the right thing to do. Commissioner May, and then Underhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I'm interested in is equity and parity, for the aides, their employees, just like other staff. To me, it should be whatever that stipend is across the board. For other staff, it should be for everybody, And so that's what I'm expecting,
Okay.
And quite frankly, the aides drive more than most people who are getting stipends.
That's something that I've noticed as well. That's a phenomenon that I've noticed as well. Commissioner Underhill, you recognize.
Much along, my thoughts are along the very same lines as what you just heard. I would actually like to, if we're going to look at this and do it equitably, and actually if we're going to follow the practices that you often see in the private sector, those who are incurring expenses in the conduct of their duty would need to submit an expense report on it.
And that was I.
So, while I reckon the way we're doing it now with the stipend does create, some of the commentary that you just heard. There are people, as you said yourself, people who drive to work and don't go anywhere else, and they're receiving fairly large stipends. That's actually, in my opinion, a misuse of government money. We could just as easily have all employees who are required to travel using their own vehicle for any purpose be able to submit that. It can all be done electronically very easily. I'm sure Stefan would be able to figure out a way that would not be a major administrative burden. And that way we know that the taxpayer dollar is going to the taxpayer's duties, to the conduct of us conducting our duties for taxpayers. And I think that should apply from commissioners, all the way down to the, to the dog catcher. not to say that the dog catcher's at the bottom. I think to most.
But he's got a company car, though.
He's probably more important than a lot of times than we are. But no, for every employee, exactly the same way. You monthly have to submit your statements of where you drove. And that puts everybody on the hook for honesty. And I think it also significantly decreases the amount of money we're currently spending. We would be able to add this benefit to all who are actually spending their own dollars to do their job, probably without actually increasing the budget at all.
Well, the problem, and I don't disagree with that, but the problem is, Doug, that my aide Debbie has looked, and there's nothing on the website. There's no way to do it within the county's website. That we've looked for the reimbursement, and there's just nothing. It's very circuitous and opaque. So
Well,
I
it certainly
think,
is now.
yeah, and I think so. Look, I'm willing to entertain the discussion either way, but I just don't think an employee should have to pay to do their job, because I'm going to tell her she's got to drive. She's got to drive all over this district.
Yeah, I don't
And-
know what to think how many miles Jonathan's put on his vehicles.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
so-
many more than mine, by the way, almost certainly. Madam Clerk, he's right, there is no current system whereby we would be able to do that efficiently and effectively, but
I
with
will tell you how
technology,
my
wouldn't it-
staff does it, because I have 5 buildings and 190 folks, and they track, like, they'll just look at their odometer, and they will track whenever they drive versus doing Google Maps, because sometimes that's the shortest distance, and sometimes that's not. They have pit stops to make, so they track their mileage, and you have a county reimbursement form that follows state guidelines, and we probably cut checks for travel weekly for county staff and my staff. So there is an easy way to track it, and we will accept odometer readings, here to here, here to here. We're okay
See,
with that.
I believe that would be.
I don't
so we've
need a
already-
Google map. I would absolutely trust, we had a meeting here, and that's all that's needed for us when we get audited as well.
Right, because when people sign their name to something like that, they know they could be held accountable for it.
We
And
are,
generally
we are
speaking-
flexible with their
Yeah.
travel, and we have discussed with this with
Okay,
the auditor,
so-
so please do not short any of your people that use their vehicles.
Yeah,
So, Commissioner
absolutely.
May, that's an excellent way for us to make that equitable from the lowest ranking to the highest ranking person in this organization.
Doug, I kind of like what you're saying. I don't care whether it's, the mileage thing, because I've done that. I've worked, community centers and summer youth, whether it's the allowance. I don't like the incentive stipend that, it's a part of someone's package, because we don't give out bonuses like that, so they get a $500 gas allowance because it's a bonus, it's a part of their contract. Whatever's good for the commissioners should be good for the young people that are working in a community center that are driving from the park to the park to the park. That guy, he has to go out there to West Pensacola, but then he has to ride over to Wedgewood. Leroy, he has to go back to Brownsville, he has to go to Evanwood. They're not getting anything. They're not getting anything. And so whatever we do should be consistent from the commissioners down to the person that's going across this community to the park, whatever that is, and aides. And so it shouldn't be different that, you got someone in administration getting 500 and commissioners getting 800 and somebody else getting 100. That shouldn't be the way it goes. I know what we get, Robert. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it needs to be consistent across the board. Mileage is mileage. The state has a per diem.
They sure do.
Whatever. The fairness of it is equitable to everybody. That's all. I don't care what it is. It can be zero if that's what we decide, but let it be zero for everybody. But whatever it is, it needs to be for that person that's making $10.73 an hour that's working in the community center versus someone who's making $125. We got people making over $100,000 getting a stipend. You got somebody making $10.75 that's driving more than the person that's making over $100,000. To me, that's not fair.
And I think, like I said, we've got the technology now where we can do this, and clearly Madam Clerk is already doing it, whereby we can actually make that money available to the people who are actually spending money to do their job. And I bet if we do that instead of just flat stipends, we probably end up budget neutral, if not actually not quite spending quite as much. And you're right. This is not something that should be a part of a benefits package. Make the salary whatever the salary needs to be competitive. Because adding this on then creates this situation where some employees are more important than other employees, or better or they're more they have more privilege,
Right.
And certainly better compensation for harder jobs. No problem with that, but certainly not a greater level of privilege.
Well, someone who's making $10.75 that's working part-time, that's not getting anything from for travel, for going around for a summer employment program, like you said, they're paying the work. I mean, they're not even making ends meet and trying to do a good job for the county, so.
So we look forward
Yeah,
to
yeah, we'll
discussion.
kill. My position's been the same since I've been on the board on it, Jeff. So, I mean, if you're bringing it forward and then we're gonna remedy this problem, we can do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is great.
I mean, people got year-to-year contracts. They don't have in perpetuity contracts. When someone said that's part of their contract, people don't have lifelong contracts.
Well, I think we've given some guidance to Stefan. I think we want to see something, whether it be the reimbursable or the fixed travel stipend. And we'll see what happens in 60 days when we do the public hearing. Robert, did you want to add in before we move to the next item?
I did actually had Madam Clerk, are people that turn in mileage requests to you or show evidence, can they use the odometer readings as well?
Yeah, their boss, supervisor, whoever they
So
answer to.
outside agencies or anything like that?
There will be an email that says, I need you to go to this meeting. So it shows that it's an approved travel, because that's what the auditors will look for. And they will say, it's here to here. I don't really need odometer readings. It was 14 miles. Because their supervisor, and ultimately Wes, signs off on that. But there has to be an email that's an approval that where they are traveling. That's what the state auditors look for.
That could be a problem because I sometimes call her and say, I need you to go look at this road, or I get something on social media, or I just want to know.
Yeah.
So I may not be able to meet that requirement.
She can follow up with an email that says, Commissioner Burgage, I followed up and I went here, here, and here. Total mileage, 50 miles. Send an email, send your travel packet. We will absolutely reimburse based on your sign off.
So it could be something like that, or it could be just a stipend.
Yes,
We'll see
sir.
what happens. We'll see.
We
what happens.
understand that your aides need to travel as well as Parks and Recreation. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right, good discussion, folks. I appreciate that. Okay, while we were talking, I did notice the Honorable Scott Lunsford, our tax collector, came in. So without objection, we're going to go ahead and recognize him so he can present his budgetary request. Good morning, Scott. You're recognized.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Commissioners, appreciate y'all indulging me this morning. We had a software crisis we had to fix. This year, our fee to the board is going to be $5,589,140, which is about a $214,000 increase for the collection of property taxes and tangible taxes. We are budgeting for a 3% raise, and the other big item that we have that impacts the budget is our building relocation for our Marcus Point office. We need to have that as consideration as well.
Any questions for Mr. Lunsford? Robert?
Yeah. And Lumen, I think you've been involved with this a little bit with that building, but Scott, how much time do you have left on your current lease on your W Street property?
About 27 months.
So we have about 27 months to get this done. I mean, I think, I don't know how involved you've been or what, but.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are working through it. I think it's on the right track. Mr. Lunsford and I met. We're going to still be able to keep a public space and have some still public amenities there, and at the same time be able to get what the tax collector knows.
So, but again, I mean, there's nothing in the budget. I don't know if we need to put in some design or something if we've got 27 months to get a building in place there, because the current facility is, we just worked out a 3-year extension
Right.
after we had already said we were going to vacate it. And, and that option may not be there in 27 months from what we're hearing. So
Well, I think there's some money in LOST for that building, right, Scott, already?
there's not any in the project list for this.
None that
fiscal
I've
year.
seen identified yet.
And, well, let's let Stephen work with Scott and, bring something back.
Okay.
Commissioner Barry?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, and hey, Scott, good morning, buddy.
Good morning.
And I have, been engaged with Scott a number of times, Scott and Rich both, about what their needs are and what their timelines are, and, for quite a little while now. We'll get, we'll get it done, and I've committed to him that the board, I'm certain, will stay on that timeline and make sure that he has something ready to go when he needs to. And, periodically, I think it's good if we as a board keep making sure that staff is moving forward with the needs of the new tax collectors building, it is going to be an expense, but we are getting out from underneath and also, a pretty healthy lease payment.
Yes.
So it's not, it's not a completely new expense. It's a new project, but not a completely new expense to us. So, as we do need to get moving, get and continue moving forward on it, I think you've got the commitment of the board that will do so. So,
Okay.
but operationally, Scott, I appreciate you as well. You do a
Right,
great
thank
job
you.
over there. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, Scott, I do appreciate all that you're doing. I mean, you are very, very, very conscientious of our county and our tax dollars, and I appreciate it. So I don't think there's going to be an issue. We'll find the capital dollars.
Good, thank you, sir. If I may, Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
sir.
I just want to point out a couple other new services that are coming.
Okay.
We're at the Blue Angels Air Show this weekend, and I want to say thanks to Commissioner Bender. He helped rescue a few hot souls out there this weekend. There was a lot of smoking people out there. But we had a good weekend, and we are building our own cheaper version of a mobile unit that will allow us to service Davisville, Bratz, Century, and Perdita Key, Pensacola Beach. We're building that. We're also adding armed guard licenses this year for all the security guards that are in the two-county area will come to our office to be licensed, fingerprinted, and their background checks. And then the third one that I'm most proud of, it's really been difficult, is we have finally created a homebound solution for our citizens that are bound to a facility or to their home where they can't come out to get their driving license ID cards to handle their medical needs and wills and that kind of thing. We finally have a solution. It should be here in a couple months. It's being built to where we'll be able to go out to their home or wherever they may be and get them that credential to get them served as well.
That's fantastic. That's really great.
And thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And while Scott's, taking on those new activities and everything, he's still, they still have the time to get a young lady who turned 16 this morning in and out of that office in about 35 or 40 minutes on W Street. So I know that was appreciated by some friends of mine. So
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bender?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Scott was the hardest working person out there at the Blue Angels this past weekend, and, I think it's great. We did it in the November air show where the mobile unit comes. We can hawk some Blue Angel license plates where some of the money goes to the foundation. But also, as you said, people they don't realize that they can just walk right in. And I mean, I actually renewed my tag on Friday without any issue. And so I appreciated him being out there, and of course the support as we did help a couple of people with the heat exhaustion and other issues that Scott would see me coming and have the chair and the cooler and the fan ready to go. So, but it was good to see him, and hope they did a good
Thank you.
job.
Right on. Lumen?
No, I mean, they're giving Scott a lot of compliments, but Rich Stone had to stay in that AC office while y'all were out there partying with the Blues. So, I mean, I don't know if it was, that bad. I
He
mean,
was standing by the emergency phone in case we needed something.
yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Scott,
you.
for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move forward now to the County Attorney's Office. Allison Rogers, you're recognized.
Sure. You can see the proposed budget on page 49 of your books. This is largely what you've seen in the last couple of years, with two notes. I want to point out that we've had unprecedented turnover in the last year, and that's actually resulted in what appears to be at this time a slight downtick in the personnel budget going into next fiscal year. And then also, I know that Stefan has worked with Sharon Harrell in the clerk's office, and they have moved into my budget a general liability claims line, which has typically been paid outside of my budget. It's now in my budget, so if it looks like there's an increase, that's why. That's typically been in the Internal Services Fund, and now when it's not reimbursed by an insurance policy, they're taking it out of this line.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Allison? Seeing none, we're going to move forward to County Administration. Stefan, you're recognized. I believe you're speaking on behalf of Wes, since Wes is not able to be here today.
Commissioners, the county administrator had deleted a couple of administrative positions out of county administration. Generally, you're going to see, again, his budget is flat. There was also a $50,000 decrease that just happened to be in that budget for a couple of years. It wasn't really being utilized, so the administrator was certainly willing to give that money back to the board. Other than that, there's really not a lot of changes between the assistant county administrators, the county administrator's office, and community and media relations.
Very good. And just for everyone's benefit, this is on page 61 of the budget. And also, just for folks who might be watching at home who really want to get a good handle on our budget and what we do, there's if you go to our website, myescambia.com, and you go, there's an interactive portal, and you can click on it and find all the information you could ever want. Every single thing that we're going through here is all available there. There's an excellent program there, and you can zero in and drill down. I would just encourage the citizens who are very interested in the budget to go to myescambia.com, click the budget item, and then you can find all this information there. There's our plug for the day. All right, animal welfare. Is John here today? John? John Robinson is here. He's the director. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody?
We're doing great.
Our budget, just like everybody else, is probably a little flat. We try to keep it steady. Obviously, there's going to be some issues with salary. I think that's the biggest increase in our budget from last year to this year. But generally, for operating expenses, we have a little bit of an increase just because medical supplies are going up pretty heavy. You'll probably see that in other industries as well. But that's our biggest challenge is keeping up with the medical supplies. But overall, I think our budget's really solid, and I think we've tried to be real frugal with it as best we can.
John, can I ask you,
Yep.
I know that for a number of years, one of the important things, and by the way, thanks for being here and thanks for what you do. It's a tough job, and a lot of people second guess some of your decisions. and we know some of those things are working.
That's part of the way it works.
Yes, sir. But I wanted to ask you, one of the things that I've been concerned about is just the number of euthanasias that happen. And I know that we're trying to get to a point where we're not euthanizing dogs in particular. And
Correct. So we have over a 90% live release rate at this point.
Okay, 90%.
Yeah, so and that would qualify you as I don't usually use the term no-kill shelter. It's just not something, I think it's a parameter that's set by our industry, but I don't usually use that term. I usually we try to reduce euthanasias. All the dogs, any dog that gets euthanized at our facility is a medical or a behavioral issue. It's a danger to the public, or it has a medical issue.
Well, say that again, because that's very important for the people to know.
It typically, any dog that's euthanized at our facility is a medical or a behavioral issue. It's either a danger
Sort of
to the
vicious
public.
dog.
Yep, exactly. So it has some behavioral issues or it has some medical issues. And then we've dramatically reduced cat euthanasia over the last few years. Now, we've done that by being very frugal about what we bring into the facility, just because everything that we were bringing in was required euthanasia, it was feral, those kind of things. So we're working with different organizations and different programs to try to reduce that intake number as best as we can.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing on that. To
No
me, that's
problem.
important. So if it's a dog that does not have major health complications or is not a biting dog or vicious dog, are you pretty confident that we're not euthanizing any?
Yeah, we're and our numbers reflect that as well. But we have our statistics posted on the website all the time, and it reflects that. But again, we're pretty low on our euthanasia numbers at this point. There'll be challenging periods like just what we're going through now is we call it kitten puppy season. You'll get some medical issues, kittens that just fail to thrive, things like that. So we have some challenges from that perspective. But overall, euthanasia is, if it's adoptable, it's getting adopted or transferred to a rescue or whatever opportunities we can find to find it a home.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Director Robinson? Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, next up, building inspections, and that's on page 73 of your book. Is Tim Tolbert here, or who's going to be up? Huh? You're on the hot seat. Good morning.
It's me today, guys and ladies. All right, so there's not much change. There's actually a slight decrease in our budget from last year. Really, it's kind of self-explanatory. If you guys have any questions for me, that would be great.
Any questions, Commissioner Booth?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
not related to our operational budget, but on the inspection fund and that board, that operation runs a very healthy cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there needs to be some feedback from our board, but I hope that the folks that sit on that board, whatever, what they view as being, needed, given the funds that they do oversee on the board's behalf, that we're receptive to those needs, and, maybe that's not something we've talked about at great length here, but if there are things that the inspection board feels like would make the whole operation better, I would hope that our board would be the ones that are making the decision if those ideas don't come forward.
Yes, sir. We
Okay.
did have a meeting in June
Okay.
with Inspection Fund Advisory Board, and they did give us some suggestions on adding personnel and maybe a software as far as GPS locating setback lines. So we're looking into those avenues, yes.
And I just have to give props. I had an air conditioner installed at a piece of property that I own, and the very next day, the contractor was called by the county saying, we're going to come out, we want to come. They had no idea who it was or anything, and they came out the very next day.
Oh, that's awesome.
And provided an inspection, which was good for me as the homeowner. But I mean, that's the kind of service that you get from a lot of our departments, most of our departments. And so we get beat up a lot, but our inspections department, our building services department under Tim Tolbert's leadership does great work. So I appreciate you being here. And
Thank you.
any other questions, Robert?
Yeah, Jeff, I was going to follow up on that. So I love it that a lot of contractors will use us as an excuse as to why it hasn't been done when they haven't called for it. And,
Exactly.
And because we'll be out in, as you said, 24, 48 hours and so when I've had a call where someone says, hey, they're saying the county hasn't signed off on it, and I'm going, well, we haven't been, they said they sent it in 2 weeks ago. No, they're dragging their feet on something else. So.
Absolutely.
I do, every comment I get from them is positive.
Yep.
It
Thank you for
occurs
being-
quite a bit.
Commissioner Underhill?
Thank you. Because you know what I'm about to talk about.
I know.
I was literally sitting at her desk on Friday with precisely what Commissioner Bender's talking about. The contractor had told me that they'd submitted, one of the things I'm looking forward to, that not being a commissioner anymore, I mean, it's, up in North County, people don't know me. And they didn't know that I was a commissioner.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we submitted that. I sat at her desk on Friday. She was able to pull up and show that nothing had been submitted.
That's
Okay,
right.
So what Commissioner Bender is saying is actually pretty accurate, and I think valuable for citizens to know. If a contractor tells you that they're waiting on the county for a permit, you can make a very quick phone call to find out what permits have been applied for at your house.
Yep.
You
That's
are not subject to whatever they tell you. The government works for you. So it's an easy thing to pass it off and say, oh, we're waiting on the county. 9 times out of 10, I think that if the citizen calls the county and finds out what the status is of the permit on their house, they will be empowered to re-engage with their contractor, let me put it that way.
That's great.
Thanks.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here. Outstanding. Okay, up next, corrections. Chief Rich Powell is here. You're recognized. And while he's on his way up, I also want to take the time to manage him up, and he had to do a lot of extra work, him and his staff, to put together a draft RFP for something that I requested. I believe the board supported me in the request for, our medical costs at the jail, as you know, just keep going up geometrically. Cost of drugs, the cost of people, not being able to have people, then having to contract out for people. So I appreciate your efforts in doing that, and I really look forward to seeing what the private sector may be able to do to help us save money. But with all that, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As Stephen spoke to, the biggest change in our budget is parking the funding for those positions to adjust for the salaries that were changed over the year, as well as in the projection is we've reduced the medical cost by $1 million flat in that aspect of we had some very sick inmates coming out of 21 into 22 we haven't had, and we're still almost at $1 million, but it's not $1 million plus. So we were projecting that into this year. We scaled it back. Hopefully we hit the target, but that's kind of an unknown. That's one of the biggest significant changes to our budget. We've reduced in a couple other areas as well, but as you know, we don't control the ebb and flow, so we have to stay a little fluid with it. That's the long and short of it, and I'm open to any questions you need.
And for everyone's benefit, this is page 81 in our book. Any questions for Chief Powell? Seeing none, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, next up, Development Services. Good morning, Horace Jones, you recognized.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chairman, Board members. Again, we want to we're very thankful for Mr. Steffen, our budget team. Glad to have him back.
Yes,
Thankful
we
for
are.
my staff. Wave your hand, Miss Kayla. You don't want to come this morning. Shannon and my budget team. They're doing a good job. And so, but therefore, I also want to thank Ms. Carla Marino, who's always an asset to our department. But right now, our budget is pretty the same, with one exception. We're adding one position, which is going to be funded by our enterprise fund, Fund 116, because unfortunately, Ms. Rosa Seshnoff, she'll be retiring in '23.
She's not allowed to.
She does an outstanding job with our stormwater engineering work that she does. So we want to bring somebody on right now, because, so we can train them up, she can train them, so when she do leave, we can keep the ball rolling, because she's critical. That's a very, very critical position, and it's going to be funded by Fund 116, which is my fund, and I've always tried to keep that fund people call me frugal, but I'm not. I'm just conservative when it comes to that fund.
Conservative, I like that. That's good. All right,
And
any
Commissioner-
questions?
And Commissioner, if I could just add to
Yes,
that.
please.
So Horace even did a better job. So basically, he took his contract services budget to create that position. So he was still at a net negative to
I was going
his
to say,
budget.
it looks like his budget actually went down this year.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Great job, Horace, as usual. Thanks, Drew. Any questions? All right, moving forward to the next development, no, okay, never mind. Engineering, which is page 97. Good morning and welcome back, Joy Blackman. Welcome back. You're recognized.
You guys know how to throw a welcome party. No, thank you very much. I am excited to be back, and no jokes at all. I look forward to working with some of these newer faces and appreciate this opportunity to work with you again. And forgive me for the frog in my throat, so I'll try not to talk too long if you'll let me get away with that.
Yes, we will.
Our increase is minor, and this is the budget Stefan gave me, so I'm going to work with it. Because he's a nice guy. I'm sure it's all great.
As you should. Thank you.
I know, I'm going to do that. Some of this increase is due to some traffic calming. We're running about 4 years behind schedule on some of that, from what I understand, and a new scanner. So hopefully that'll help us get caught up a little bit. Any questions?
Questions for Joy Blackman, our county engineer? Commissioner Bender? Nope, nothing. Okay, thanks, Joy. Welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Next up, Extension Services. Good morning.
Good morning. Nick Simmons is out of town unexpectedly today, so I'm Susan Hendricks, his aide, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Susan. Any questions for Extension Services? Commissioner Berry?
Well, too bad Nick is not here, but thank you for being here, Susan. Y'all do a great job. So,
Thank you so much.
That was pretty painless. Thanks for being
All
here.
right, thanks.
All right, Facilities. Rob Hogan? Good morning, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
And this starts on page 105. And you're recognized, Rob, to present your budget request.
So the Facilities Department, we've been understaffed since I've been here all year and longer. So our salaries are, we have a big reserve in our salaries for this year, which is going to carry over. We've asked for 6 new employees in the custodial sector to take over some of our contracted custodial services building. They are factored into the new budget.
Can I ask you, were the contracted custodial, was that work just substandard, or what was the reasoning behind that?
The work was substandard, there was problems with theft, things like that, so we thought it would be better to just take our most important buildings and put them as FTEs.
Okay. And are you able to hire custodians? I mean, are there people willing, our starting pay for custodians is what, $13, $14
It's
Less?
a little over 14.
14.
Right.
So people are rolling off the couch to come and work for that?
We are actually getting applicants for
Okay.
custodians, yeah. So we're not seeing any problems with manning those positions when we get them.
Okay. All right, good. Questions? Commissioner Berry, you're recognized.
Rob, good morning.
Good morning.
When you came on, somewhere in that timeline, it became apparent that we had not been doing anything related to our HVAC stuff, and we had problems. We had contracts that weren't current. We had apparently equipment that hadn't been serviced, and as expensive a pieces of equipment as those are, that's shocking. As a board member, that was shocking.
It's very shocking.
Have you gotten all of that under control?
We're still working on getting it under control. The next board meeting, we'll be presenting service contracts for all of the chillers in the county, which is a good step forward. We are replacing a number of units, actively ordering them and waiting for delivery of the units themselves. We have a large amount of capital in our budget this year that we're working on spending to at least get those units purchased. Then our staff is installing the ones that we can handle, and the other ones we're looking for a turnkey installation process. But we are actively working on that, yes.
Have we had to end up paying out of pocket for items that would have been warrantied if they had been dealt with during the warranty period?
If it's under warranty, we actively pursue the warranty. On
I'm sorry, that wasn't my question.
Okay.
Are we paying for things that would have been warranty work if there had been any attention to the detail during that warranty period, and we allowed the warranty periods to expire because no one was minding to the infrastructure?
For equipment warranties, I cannot say that we have been doing that.
Okay.
We pursue all of our warranty work, all of our options. There are different warranties on different parts for the HVAC systems, compressor, everything has a different warranty period. So with all the number of units we have, it's hard to track. But when we come in to service them.
But it's hard to track. Somebody's got to track it.
Yeah, we do not have a tracking system for warranties for each piece of equipment.
For the major pieces of equipment?
For the major pieces of equipment, we do not have a warranty tracking program.
That's something that's really astounding to me.
It's very astounding to me.
In the facilities management annex that I manage on the base, we have a dedicated person. He has a Maximo database, and we track these warranties because the government is paying us to make sure that we're not doing. So do you need a position? Because I think a county of our size, with the equipment that we install and what we do, we need to be tracking those warranties. And I know it's a big effort. That's why I'm surprised we don't have a dedicated employee to do it.
We need to be tracking warranties, but we also need to be tracking our service agreements.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay, and we do not have a tracking system for that either.
Why not?
I can't answer that question.
But I mean, Jeff, there's a requisition, there's a purchase order when something was bought on this date and the warranty goes for 5 years. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
That's not Chinese math. I mean, that's pretty,
No, this conversation brings several concerns.
And I knew about the expiration of the service agreements, and that's what brought some of the deficiencies to my attention that had previously existed, but I didn't. And again, anecdotally, I'd been told that we ended up having to pay out of pocket for some repairs that would have been covered by warranty if they were addressed during the warranty period, which we didn't. We weren't making regular trips to make sure that we were, right. It would seem to me, if it's my asset, some period of time prior to the expiration of the warranty, I'm going to give it a real good once-over to make sure that everything's good. And I mean, if we don't even know when expirations are of these large assets, then there's no way to even do that. Right. So obviously we weren't doing that. So.
HVAC systems and roofs are the number 1 and 2.
Yes, they should be tracked closely. I agree.
Yeah, so.
We're going to work on the service contract because a lot of our contracts are starting to renew. We'll start to renew, so we'll set up that tracking system. As for the warranty tracking system, we rely on our Lucidity work order system. That tracks the work we do and the costs we put into our equipment. It does not track the warranty periods.
Okay.
So we rely mostly on the technicians that are coming out to do the work to tell us what's under warranty and what isn't.
Okay. Well, look, I don't think we need to belabor the point. Obviously, we found a blind spot that needs to be addressed. So I will just ask that staff take a look at this, yourself and Wes and Stefan, whoever needs to, Crystal DeDour, and that we get this addressed, because that's an important thing. that guy can earn his salary just by the savings he
I agree.
achieves for our county. I see it.
agree.
I see it every day in my job that I do. So, Commissioner May?
No, I don't know, Jeff. I mean, the director would say, I don't even know if that's an increase in a position other than the delegation of
It's
duties.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
but-
full-time job.
It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job, believe me.
Well, it may be, I don't know. But, I mean, it's ridiculous it's ridiculous that hadn't happened, a county of this size. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
you
glad
have
we're
$1
having
billion
the discussion.
worth of assets.
I'm astounded that we don't. But again, we found it, now we got to fix it.
Yes,
So
I agree.
appreciate that. Any other discussion? Thank
No.
you. Oh, and by the way, before you leave, thank you very much for all your ongoing assistance with getting this library completed. We are, for the record, we're finally going to have a ribbon cutting and open this thing on September 16th. September 16th at 11 o'clock. It's a Friday. The Bellevue Library will open, right?
Yes, it will.
All right, it will open. I'm
Okay.
told it will open, and we're going to do it on September 16th, which is a Friday at 11, so everyone will be invited. Thank you.
I'm sure you'll get a front cover story in the paper about the opening of your library.
I'm sure I'll get beat up for it.
A couple questions. The hurricane repairs to the Rosa Parks, are they complete, all the repairs?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
To the Rosa Parks, to the transit
To
building?
the ECAP building?
Yes.
We're currently working on them. We have one project, the ceiling and striping project starts this weekend, weather permitting. We're working on the roof design, and we are working on cleaning and repainting the exterior of the building.
Okay, cool. What's the expected time of completion? And not to put you on the spot, but they've talked about it for about 10 years, and it still hasn't got.
The roof is hard to say because it's a flat roof and there's material delays. Some of those material delays for the ISO insulation board or something could be up to a year right now. So the roof is going to be a difficult one to predict, although the power washing and painting can probably be done within the next 4 months.
And the repairs to the Brownsville Community Center from the hurricane, are we on top of those as well?
We are working on them. They're difficult because of the proximity of the leak area and getting a lift in there, but we are working on them. We're down to less than 20 FEMA projects remaining to work and close, and that is one of them.
I'd appreciate prioritizing that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Thank you, Rob. Next up, Human Resources, Crystal Dedura. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So I've been working very closely with Mr. Hall and the budget team. They've been amazing. We do have a slight increase, obviously, within our insurance funds. We have a renewal presentation that we'll be doing for the benefits side of the house on August 4th. So that'll be a lot more information coming. We did go out to market for bid for most of our benefits. There was a slight increase, obviously, within risk. Mainly, the training funds were increased so that we can increase training across the county. But otherwise, we didn't have a huge increase.
And this is page 113
Yeah.
to 117, 119, 121. Any questions?
Now,
Crystal?
Crystal, quick question.
Sure.
And the budget's fine with me, I don't have a problem with it. How long does it take to onboard someone?
So it can take 2 weeks, depending on when departments do interviews. But it could also take up to about a month, depending on if background screenings take a little bit longer. But as far as on average,
How long does it typically take to get the background check back?
3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days?
Physical appointments take 2 to 3 days. So altogether, it's only a couple days, but with a combination of
So
all the
standard, we'll get someone onboarded in about 2 weeks?
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, I'd say closer to 3.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Barrett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize, I had to step out for a second, but did you mention dental?
So we did go out to market for dental. We're having the renewal presentation on August 4th, so we'll be presenting all that information to you all then.
Are we sticking with Delta?
Maybe. We still have to evaluate all the bids that came
Do we have
through.
other bids?
We do not yet, no, sir.
Okay, well, we're gonna have, we gotta do something else. I mean, what we have doesn't work, so if we
Yes,
don't have
sir.
other bids, then,
We do, we'll be presenting to them on August 4th to you all.
oh, I thought you said we didn't have other bids.
We have the bids, we have not yet reviewed them. with our USI broker yet.
Okay. We have other bids for the dental services, though?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for Crystal? Thank you very much, Crystal.
Yes, sir.
Have a good morning. Information Technology, Bart Siders. I don't see Bart. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bart's out this week, so I'll try and answer any questions you have. We have a slight increase this year, mainly from an anticipated Microsoft licensing increase and some Kronos clocks and an intern.
Any questions for Information Technology? Seeing none, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Library Services, Todd Humble, you're recognized. Good morning. And I'll say the same thing to you that I said to Rob. I appreciate the work. It's been a long process for this library, but I'm excited to cut that ribbon
Yeah.
on September 16th.
Yes, we're finally there, which that's the main reason you do see a reduction in our overall budget, because we do not have the expenses of finishing out the Bellevue Library. So it does show approximately $700,000 decrease. There's a decrease in cost from IT, greater efficiencies, and there's a decrease in cost from facilities as well. Overall, COVID fear of using the libraries has ended, and we're on track to recover our gains we made in recent years.
Your library MSTU is also bringing in pretty good revenue. It continues to bring in more revenue each year as we grow this economy. This budget gets you what you need to operate these libraries? I love our library system. I
Yes.
really do.
We, with the new library and in the process designing the Brownsville Library, when the salaries go up to $15 an hour, we will be stressed. Right
The
now, we
budget
do
will be?
budget-wise. Right now, this allows us to budget a little under 10% reserves, which we had wiped out reserves when we did Bellevue. But we should be in good shape to handle that at least the next few years. And if the growth continues, we should probably have no issues.
Well, we got to get to 15, right? Our hands are tied.
I know we
Gotta
do, and as long as evaluations keep growing, we'll be fine.
Yep, hopefully they will. Knock on wood. All right, any other questions for Todd? None? Thanks. Management and budget?
Hi,
Oh,
Commissioner.
Stefan.
Yes,
Looking
sir,
out
that
there.
would be us.
That would be you.
So, other than personnel changes, just simply staffing my department, you'll see my operating budget went up $670.
I like that. That's reasonable. Any questions for Stefan? Stephen?
I just want to say, Stefan, I love having you back, and great job. So, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I echo that sentiment. So easy to work with. Very good. Purchasing. All right. Purchasing. Here we go. Jeff Lovingood. Good morning. Thank you for being here. This is page 134. You're recognized.
Good morning, everyone. Jeff Lovingood. The Office of Purchasing has worked with Stephen Hall, Mr. Wesley Hall, and Mr. Wes Marino in preparing the current budget that you have before you. I'm happy to accept any questions that you may have.
Your budget went up quite a bit. Is that just staffing that you finally are getting?
Staffing is significant, yes.
Okay.
We've, in my time here, we've been as small as 3 people.
Yeah.
So right now, we're at 7, and we're budgeted for 9.
Okay. And if you get to your 9, does that, I mean, I'm talking to Wes, 2-week turnarounds on some of these procurements. You're able to maintain that?
We're already there.
That's fantastic, man. Thank you for your hard work.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
I have a great team, and it's a team effort for everyone involved. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Commissioner Berry.
Yeah, and I think, Wes is not here, obviously, but I think, some of that is due to attention, and, it's prior, I think it has bled over into Jeff coming back, but it's something that I think was done prior to Jeff coming back, where the administrator was sitting with him every Friday. And,
That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. What you put your attention and your efforts to seem to move that needle. So but it affects the whole county, obviously. But thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here. All right,
Thank
very
you.
good. Mass Transit, Rodriguez Kimbrough, you're recognized. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
first, thank you to the Budget Office, but I want to give I would be remiss if I didn't thank Ms. Kathy Getz and the entire Escambia County Area Transit staff, just as we move forward in attempting to drive towards excellence. We've just been continually working to realign our expenses and budgets to properly reflect actually anticipated operating expenses. I know that you all see that there's actually been a 15.25 increase, but I'm going to go ahead and just jump into it before you all start asking a lot of questions.
Smart. That's good.
A lot of that, of course, comes from our paratransit contract, right? If you like our paratransit contract, the actual approved increase in rates in fiscal year 2022, that was for our year 4 and 5 option. That wasn't put into our proposed budget. So that makes up almost 56% of our overall mass transit operating increase. So I just want to make sure that that's known. And also the fuel costs, of course, we use fuel probably more than many of the other departments here. So that extra 15 cent added to our fuel, that's actually has taken us up another, increased the operating increase, another 25%. So again, I'm willing to take questions. I can answer any of the questions right now. We're prepared, but we're trying to drive towards excellence, and that's where we are right now. And we're just looking for any questions.
Okay, I got a couple for you. I don't see any lights on.
Yes, sir.
Looking at the revenue, understanding that during COVID we provided a lot of free rides, but the fare box is down to like a little over 200 grand. It was at one point over $1 million. Do you anticipate a rebound in that revenue? Because right now we give a lot of free rides.
So honestly, Chair, nowhere in transit can we actually make that full determination that our actual ridership will go back up. But I can say our program, our ADA free ride program, that is actually majority of our ridership currently. We are doing our best to revamp that program because that's been a program that's been in existence now for a very long time. So we're doing everything we can to get our citizens educated on the actual processes and procedures, because right now currently everyone, I'm ADA, I'm supposed to get a free ride. It's become a free ride ticket, but that wasn't the intention of that program, and that's nowhere in the state of Florida where that's the intention. But we want to do anything we can to make sure that our citizens understand that program, and we do our best there at ECAT to make sure that we realign that program to be specifically for what it was meant for when it was approved.
And one of the things that I've heard the board talk about for your, and just full disclosure, I support mass transit. I know it's very necessary,
Yes,
particularly in the urban core of our community, but some of the routes, may not necessarily have a lot of ridership. I mean, what are we going to do in terms of streamlining the routes and eliminating FTEs so that we match what is the routes that are actually being utilized?
Yes, sir.
You're
Chair,
smiling, so is it?
Yeah, most definitely. And the reason I'm smiling is because we look forward to having the board support in completing a comprehensive operational analysis, because that's something that hasn't been done for our actual transit system. A full-blown comprehensive operational analysis that shows us those performing routes, actually shows us those actual true transit-specific things that we can actually do in our community to actually change the way we operate. Is it, as I've heard before, is it feasible for our community to have 1,286 bus stops with 30 to 35 foot buses running up and down our corridors on a regular basis? No, that's true. That's not necessary. But there are other analysis that can be done, that's done in transit, that can show where we can utilize smaller vehicles. I can say it because I hear that a lot, smaller vehicles. Smaller vehicles with the way that we currently run our operation is actually not safe, because the wheelchair ramps are in the back and on the side, and the driver doors, you actually have to get out into traffic. But again, there are other ways to actually change that, and that's our job there at Escambia County Area Transit and Mass Transit Department. We're going to make that change that you all are looking for.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Kimbrough? All right. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Next up, Natural Resource Management. Chip Kirschenfeld, you're recognized.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pages 143 to 155 in your budget book includes the Natural Resources Management Department. We are a very diverse department with 8 divisions, 61 employees. Those divisions include everything from mosquito control to environmental code enforcement and, of course, the water quality division. Our department goal has always been to minimize the impact on the general fund. And again, this year, we've been able to propose a budget that only includes 26% of the budget from the general fund. The current proposed budget for this next fiscal year is $6.9 million. And I'd like to thank the board for supporting all of our efforts with the Restore projects, the water quality and air quality monitoring that we do, and also our new resiliency program. And our department accountant, Susan Holt, has done a great job pulling all of these 8 divisions together. And with that, I'd like to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I don't see any lights. Any questions for Chips? All right, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Neighborhood and Human Services. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Clara Long, Neighborhood and Human Services Director. We provide citizens of Escambia County with quality, efficient programs and services while promoting education awareness with wholesome environment. We also go out and help to revitalize and promote economic development throughout these communities. And we directly connect with citizens through our social services programs designed to improve their quality of life. As far as our personnel, we have just a slight increase with our personnel, with our operating, little to no change. And our biggest increases are grants and aids. And those programs, we work with outside agencies as well as providing direct improvements to citizens in Escambia County. And today, we have been understaffed, but I would say now that we're pretty much currently at staff. We're thankful for, with our CRA division manager, Everett Parker. He's been here now less than 30 days, and he is on the ground running. And we also have Garrett Griffin, and Everett comes from Jacksonville, Florida. He's a resident of Escambia County. Now he went out, left for about 20 years, and now he's back in Escambia County. And he is, like I said, he's definitely getting his feet wet. And we have Garrett Griffin. He is now the Neighborhood Enterprise Division Manager, and he's come from Emerald Coast Regional Planning. So I'm looking forward to working with these 2 gentlemen with our divisions that have been abandoned or vacant. And I've just been working, trying to keep everything together. And I just thank God that they're here to assist with me. And thanks to Budget, they have really been helpful to me, keeping me in line and getting everything together. So I am just ecstatic. I'm really excited. I'm sorry. So, because it has been a long journey for me with these vacancies. So
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just thankful for that. So I will just open it up for the board if they have any questions
Okay,
for me.
any questions for Clara? Clara, the only question I have, and first I want to compliment you on what you do with the community centers and your department.
Yes,
You
sir.
take care of a large part of our community that frankly is underserved, so
Yes.
thank you for all that you do on that. The only question I have is, there's a tremendous jump in your budget, and I'm sure there's an explanation. You may have already given it.
Yes.
But in the Neighborhood Enterprise Fund, it's a big, nearly a doubling. So what
As
is?
far as the grants. So that's,
Okay.
we got a huge ship of funds
Yes,
this
ma'am.
year. So we're looking forward to bringing some plans in place and putting some affordable housing.
Fantastic.
And just continue our rehab. I mean,
Okay.
it's been a great need. Our list is long. And so like now we have a manager in place, and we're looking forward to expending those funds.
Right on. Well, thank you for being here. Any other questions for Clara or her staff? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, Parks and Rec. I don't believe Michael Rhodes is going to be here today. Who'll be presenting today? Adam? Good morning.
Adam Reed with Parks and Rec. Susan Holt is here with me to answer any questions you guys have.
Okay.
You will see a slight increase, just the rising cost of maintenance and labor costs from some of our contracts going up across the board. Other than that, we can answer any questions you guys might have.
I'm looking at your budget here on page 178, Adam, and it looks as though it's an actual decrease. So what am I missing? It looked like it was 2.27 last year, 1.89 this year. So
Commissioner, if I can help. So
Yeah, please help
that
me.
is the
Help me
parks
out.
combined budget with all of their funds. So overall, they had a little bit of a decrease.
Okay.
And then what he referenced to and the other things, just some minor increases in other places.
All right. Well, I like seeing the number on the right of the ledger less than the one on the left. So appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you for being here. Any questions for these folks? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Public safety. Tamika, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I do
Hello.
believe Eric is on Teams with us.
Oh, he is? Okay.
He is on Teams, and I'm here just in case it does not work.
All right, Eric, can you hear us? Looks like it's working.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I appreciate the opportunity. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me do this remotely. I appreciate it. My daughter is down here getting looked at some D1 colleges, so I apologize for not being there today. But overall, our budget went up 15%, primarily due to salaries. Of course, increase in fuel costs and repair and maintenance. EMS and fire are the two biggest ones with the fuel costs and everything, and repair and maintenance. But emergency management, lifeguards, and dispatch is pretty much, relatively flat. So those are our increased. Any questions you guys might have?
Any questions for Eric Gilmore? Robert, you're recognized.
Did I may have heard we might be having a discussion on LOSD in the
Yes, in the very near future. I'm working with Wes to get a schedule that fits everyone's schedule, but yeah, we're definitely going to have a lost discussion. Did you want to ask Eric?
Well, I've talked to him, but I think that we definitely need to make sure we have some monies in this budget for apparatus, especially given the lead time and the difficulty in trying to secure those ahead. So, I think we definitely need aerials, at least two, that if they're ordered, I'm hearing it's 2025 before they would come in, but we might be able to get some off the shelf type thing. But also, it looks like there was some request for equipment. But Eric, my question was, it said radios. Is this so this is the fire capital equipment, and so it says, extrication equipment, airbags, struts, knot box, battery saw compressor, and radios. Is this the new radios for all the firefighters that we're looking at getting?
Some of the fire guys already have radios. They are the APX radios. We're looking at getting rid of the older radios that we still have in circulation that are currently at end of life, and we cannot find any replacement parts for those. So we're looking at getting more radios to replace the older ones. So it's not a complete radio replacement, and it is not a radio system replacement. It is just the handheld radios that we currently have that are end of life.
All right, and so anyway, Jeff, when that discussion comes, I would like to try to find some money for this equipment, and the request was $8 million for vehicles. In talking, I think we could probably get by, at least for next year, with about 5, which would be 3 engines, 2 aerial, and a brush truck, I think. Just something I'd look forward to talking about in a couple weeks.
I look forward to that conversation too. And Eric, while we're talking about equipment, I know that you and Chief Catrambone have done a lot on looking at our existing equipment, what we have, the years in service, the mileage, and where are we at with the progress in developing a predictable replacement cycle for this equipment so that we don't have the maintenance issues that we've seen in the past?
Absolutely. No, Chief Catrambone has already come up with that replacement plan. I look forward to sitting down with you and talking about it. It is it's a pretty shocking number on the upfront lift, I'll be honest with you. Then it goes out 7 years. And he's looking at leases, he's looking at outright purchases, he's looking at custom builds, and he's looking at demos. And that's what Commissioner Bender was alluding to, that what's already stock on shelf, what can we get our hands on right now versus 2 years from now with a custom build out. So we're trying to look at different avenues. But Chief Catterbone has worked that out with a 7-year replacement plan. And actually, I think by 2032 is when he anticipated that we would have the fleet fully up to speed where it needs to be, and then a good replacement plan going forward.
3032.
Yes, sir.
2032.
I'm sorry.
Star Trek years.
2032, yeah.
All right. Okay, all right. What other questions do we have?
Hey, he's sitting out in the heat. You know
I know
what
he
mean?
is, I know. Any other questions for Eric? We can get him off the hook here. All right. Eric, thank you very much for everything you're doing, and enjoy your time down there. Good luck with the visit.
Hope she pitches well.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Tamika, thank you for being
She's
here.
doing good.
All right.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, next up, Public Works. Public Works. Jamie Higdon.
Hey, Jeff, as he's walking up, I'd just like to recognize Jamie. On Friday or Thursday, he went over to Mobile to get some four-wheelers that he had found and delivered them out to the beach just in time for the air shows to take place. So it was some that I think I've mentioned a couple times where we just had trouble finding them, and they were replacements from Hurricane Sally, and so they were able to be utilized just because of him taking the initiative to drive over himself and pick them up. So it really came in handy this weekend with the large crowds that we had. So thank you, Jamie.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jamie.
Our budget, we've tried to hold it pretty flat this year. The big significant increase we've had is cost of fuel. It's up considerable. But other than that, we've tried to do everything we can to keep it flat and our costs down.
Fantastic. Yeah, it looks like you've gone up, a couple million, but I mean, you use a lot of equipment, a lot of fuel. Are you budgeting $5 or $6 in your fuel?
I believe we ended up settling on $5.50, didn't we?
$5.50,
Stephanie?
okay, $5.50.
And
Because it looks like, it's going down slowly, like a feather. It went up like a rocket, but it's coming down like a feather. But if we settle in at, $4 or $3.50, you should have plenty of money in this budget.
Yeah, we should, because we started off the year, around $1.60.
Right,
And ended up, we're paying right now about $4.80 for diesel.
Yeah,
So
diesel hasn't really come down much.
No.
Keeps going up. Robert?
Yeah, so I know when I've talked to FDOT, the price to repave a road for them has doubled. Have we seen that similar? So, keeping it flat, we've just cut the number of road miles we get to repave in half.
Correct.
So just want to, I know that, I'm getting texts that we're repaving some right now up in Ferry Pass area, and I know it's been on the list for a while, and they're very appreciative, and so getting some of those projects done. But I just wanted to make sure that we're seeing the same thing.
Yes, sir.
All right, Commissioner Berry, then Commissioner Underhill.
Yeah, that's one, one benefit of having stood up some in-house paving folks, some in-house resurfacing folks a few years back, that, costs are still, they're still considerably increased, but while, outside numbers are coming in close to that, it's not costing us that for what we're able to do in-house, which is not, it's not going to complete our workload or even, a healthy percentage of that workload, but it is able to do some, and that is, and I think that's at a real value, so.
Absolutely. Jamie, thanks for all your support and help.
Question?
Yep, Commissioner Underhill?
Thank you. Jamie, while the cost of maintaining roads and resurfacing roads is going up, the rate of decay of the roads is not changing. So we still have, if nothing has changed, then what Wes has said over the years of roughly a 20-year lifespan of these roads is still accurate. Would you consider that to be accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with a 20-year lifespan of our roads, then we should be budgeting for and recognizing that we need to replace 1/20th of our roads every year. Would you consider that to be accurate?
Yes, sir.
Does this budget allow you to replace 1/20th of our roads in this county this year?
I don't know if we're meeting the actual 1/20th figure, but we're doing in-house stuff to, cut some of our costs and make our road dollar go further. Engineering, has got a lot of projects in the works right now, and we're trying to reshape them so we can get them into budget and make it happen.
Yeah, I understand all that. Historically, what Wes has been saying was roughly before the spikes in costs, Wes had been telling us that it would take about $17 million a year to resurface 1/20th of our roads. Now, those numbers are clearly outdated now. Do
Yes,
we
sir.
know what the cost is or would be to work that schedule of resurfacing 1/20th of our roads?
No, sir, but I could get with engineering and get you a more accurate figure on that.
Yeah, I'd very much like to see that. I think it's an important part of the discussion, because if we fund anything less than that this year, then the problem doesn't go away next year. It only compounds, and this is the concept of deferred maintenance. The deferred maintenance of our roads and bridges in this county are absolutely chronic problems. And they're, eventually those chickens will come home to roost, and and whether it be this board or a future board, will not be able to avoid it any longer. The cost of overcoming the deficiency associated with deferred maintenance is much greater than the cost of just maintaining. And I'm concerned that by not funding and resurfacing 1/20th of our roads this year, then we are passing on to future generations and future boards the cost of our bad decision making. So yes, I very much would like to see that in today's numbers. What does it take to maintain that resurfacing? And keeping in mind, if we don't resurface 5% of our roads or 1/20th of our roads every year, then the overall condition of our road inventory next year will be worse than it is this year. You can't, there's no overcoming that fact. So,
Yes.
yeah, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing what those numbers look like with today's realities. Thanks.
Okay.
Commissioner May?
Yeah, and I hate that the CRA staff just walked out, but Doug, I kind of agree with you on the paving of these roads. I mean, as I drive through Brownsville, the roads are horrible. And so, Mr. Chairman, I don't care where we get the money from out of reserves. I mean, I'm not going to sit on this board and vote for a budget when we have potholes and streets that are tore up throughout my CRA. And so, as we come back for the budget, I'd like to get an assessment of that CRA. Are those roads off DeSoto, off Brainerd, off Gonzales? They're horrible in Brownsville. I mean, the drainage, no sidewalks into all these neighborhoods. And whatever the cost is just what the cost is. But before we vote on the final budget, I want to know what that cost is. And if we have to reallocate, Doug, I'm going to vote reserves or whatever we have to do to reallocate it. It makes no sense to me. So if we do an assessment of that analysis and bring that back, let us figure out the money before we do the budget. And whatever it takes, I think that's what it takes to give you your support. And you're right, Doug, that's roads, bridges, public safety, that's our number one priority. And we're going to prioritize these roads in these inner cities and urban cores in my district.
We'll get to work on it, sir.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
And so good. And that's all. Jeff just said when you come back for that final budget, that needs to be included for me to be able to support the budget.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Jamie, for being
sir.
here. Appreciate that. Appreciate the discussion. All right, next up, Waste Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Our Director, Don Seitz, is tied up with FDEP this morning on landfill inspection. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about our budget this morning.
I like Waste Services because you generate your own revenue.
Yes,
We
we
really
do.
love that.
Yes,
And you
we
have a pretty healthy reserve, although I think we did approve a pretty big project for you guys
Yes, we
recently.
just started our next landfill cell construction. So
Any questions for, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Susan Holt.
Susan Holt. Any questions for Susan today? All right, seeing none, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Next up, Judicial Services, State Attorney, Public Defender, Court Administration. Who is here to present on their behalf? Stefan?
Commissioner, you may not see anyone here from those agencies. The court administrator, Ms. Robin Wright, informed me that she and her staff would unfortunately not be available for the meeting due to some other scheduled events that just happened to coincide at the same days as our budget hearings. Commissioner, really the only issues within those budgets would be the change of some changes to court security.
Yes, we talked about that.
Correct. Securing the building over there.
Okay. Any questions on these budgets here? Seeing none. All right, that comes to the end of our departmental. So I'm anticipating, gentlemen, that tomorrow morning we start at 9 o'clock with the community partners, right at 9, and maybe we make it an hour meeting tomorrow. Any objections? All right. Anything for the good of the order? Anything else before we adjourn this meeting? Stefan, again, thank you for your hard work, you and your team. All the directors who spent their time here this morning, thank you for everything you're doing. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We're adjourned. Is there going to be anything, any other event in here? Can I leave my books in here? Or is there anything going on tonight in the chambers? Who would know? And Sharon, is there any other activities in the chambers tonight? Can we leave our books here?
You can leave it.
Okay, all right. I mean, but tonight there's not a board meeting in here? Okay. So I'm gonna leave my stuff here. All right. Do you need me to sign it?
Nope, we're all done.
Good.